Hello and welcome back. I'm Karjan, and this is Let's Art Operation Blinking Mirror Edition. So, we are down to one squirrel and Nina left. So, I'm just going to finish off Moku Moku. And then move on to Nina. So this is the I believe 4th day of recording that I've done for this piece. Although I didn't do much recording at all on the second day, just about a half an hour. So, this cape strings, zoom in so we can see the pixels. This shouldn't be quite as large. There. There we go. That's far too large. Okay, there we go. Just clean up a little bit of the finicky area around here. So we're almost to the point where I can start actually coloring, at which point we will lose all of these very bright neon colors that I enjoy using for outlining. I mostly use such bright colors because the contrast, the very sharp contrast in colors, helps my eyes differentiate where all the lines are supposed to be. So it's easier for me to see when using very bright colors. Whoops. It's the problem with being zoomed in so close. An errant tap can catapult you across the screen. Okay. Let's get back out. So yeah, the bright, heavily contrasting colors make it much easier for me to actually see what's going on with the piece. I don't know whether it's a result of my astigmatism, because this is really the only instance where I actually like bright on a dark background. I know a lot of e-readers allow you to have a quote-unquote night setting where the background is some sort of dark gray or black and the text is a lighter color, like gray or something. But I can't actually read the screen whenever I attempt to use those. It just gives me a headache, and all I see is this strange sort of gradient effect. Of course, it might be that I'm not using a distinct enough setting. You know, using something like cyan text on black background as opposed to pale gray to white text on a black background, or generally a dark background. But there aren't many e-readers that I have access to that actually allow you to use color. So the gray on black is gray text, black background is the closest I can get, and as I said, the only thing I see out of that is a strange sort of wavering gradient. We're gonna go turn the background off, and we're gonna go turn the other squirrels off for a moment so that I can see where lines are up here. There's a reason I'm erasing so much of the lining around the eye, and that's because in almost all of the pictures, especially the official art of these guys, there's really very little border around the eyes. The artist mostly focused on the fact that, well, the eyes are huge and they're this very deep sapphire color. So I'm going to try and follow along with that. Let's clean up this. I need to clean this up a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Just cleaning up the lines. It's not bad. Oops. Okay. This all needs to be erased. There we go. When I'm first drawing these things, I prefer to over-exaggerate the lines. You know, make them thick, make them heavy, make them very bold. That way, I can come back in and very easily crisp things up. In order to, let's see, it goes there. Just little hints at creases and other such. Let's pull this back a little bit. There we go. In a way, when I'm doing this, I kind of feel a bit like a carver. You know, that old quote, I don't make an elephant out of a block of stone. I look to find the elephant and then remove everything that isn't one. That's sort of what I feel about doing this. I leave big messes like this, and then out of the mess I pull, well, in this case I pull a squirrel. A flying squirrel. That I'm continually forgetting is supposed to be flying. I just need a little indication over here. There we go. So out of the mess that my initial scribbling leaves, and out of the mess that my sketch initially was, because you need to admit that was a very distinct mess. It was a lot messier than most of the art that I get up to, but that's because most of the art I get up to is just a single figure that I use for... It's actually very rare for me to do something with background and multiple characters and actually a scene instead of just a single character floating there in the blank space. Okay, so if we clean this up, erase that. We've got a hand sitting, a paw sitting on and this needs to be pulled back. Oops. It's a bit of all those stray little pixels. Okay. This gets to be cleaned up. And like that. Okay. Like that. And then this is supposed to be the flap. Move it just a little bit over like that. That. There we go. Erase a little bit of that in there. And then this needs to be erased out because you do that. There we go. This needs to be, excuse me, this needs to be pulled out a little bit more like this. There we go. Okay. Now, I need to clean up the tail. Wrong way. Okay. Now, what is being hidden? Alright. This is hidden. And that. So, touch that up just a little bit. There we go. Looking better. Out of that mess, I have pulled a squirrel. Do it a little thinner. Okay. Zoom back out. Not bad. There's a couple of little spots that become obvious as you zoom out. Mostly around there. Okay. So we got all 5 squirrels outlined. Now, unfortunately, it's time to work on Nina, which I've been noticing as I've been zooming in and out. She's got quite a bit of a hunchback here. So, just start working a little bit on her before I run out of time in this episode. Yeah, we'll just grab the color here. Yep, correct layer. She's got a lot of curly hair. And I'm actually rather pleased with how just those simple little curves that I used turned out looking fairly decent, giving a fairly decent doing a fairly good job at implying the type of hair that she actually has. I'm usually really terrible at, almost as bad at being satisfied with hair as I am with being satisfied with hands. It's kind of like every time I vaguely figure out how to do something, I forget and then I have to relearn. But this actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would. So I guess that says something. I'm not entirely sure what it says. I'm not going to be that fanatical about closing the bits of hair off. The color is going to do most of my work for me. And with the hair, I'm not going to be fanatical about coloring within the lines. Not for her, and not for Flick either. I'm going to be a little bit more fanatical about the fur of the squirrels. but that's mostly because their fur is rather short, so there's really no need to go beyond the lines. Whereas like here, there would be kind of a little bit of fuzz out here, and a little bit of fuzz right around here, and probably up in here too. Okay, let's remove that for a moment so I can see. Oops. So I can see just a little bit better here. Most everything else will be colored within the lines. The tree may have something like moss or similar on it that will make me go outside of the lines a little bit. Really, in most cases, lines are just guides. And so if I feel that the effect could be better placed by sort of accepting that the lines are there but going a little bit around them, then I will. I usually won't underfill the lines. I don't think I've ever underfilled the lines. I've overfilled the lines before. That is something I have done. And you can see I'm leaving more of the soft edge on the outside, as opposed to the inside where I'm kind of keeping it in a little more intact, a little harder edge. Not much. And that's because hair is soft. So I don't need or want precise lines. They just don't look good. That is one of the things I've learned. Okay, let's put this back on. I'm also trying to leave most of these lines as sort of very thin, because a lot of what I want to do with the hair is going to be just indicated with shading, not with solid lines. And I'm having trouble with this line because it's ever so slightly at an awkward angle for me to work with easily with my pen. So you can't see it in the actual recording, But I have taken advantage of the fact that my screen can swivel because it's a tablet PC. And have altered the direction of my screen. Okay, that looks okay. So now I'm going to grab the purple again, because I don't need the blue anymore. And we're gonna work on this. Work on the clothes. Tend to move down the layers in this, at least, as opposed to moving back up. Because, there's no point in... excuse me. There's no point in making sure that all of the body lines are perfect and everything, and then going on to the clotheslines, because a significant portion of the body lines are just going to be erased. So, okay. First problem. Hunchback. Hunchback needs to change. She's probably got a bit of a collar. Okay. Is this larger so that I can erase this? Less of a hunchback is always a good thing. Oops. Trying to shave pixels off and I'm getting whole chunks. So I'm being a little too careless. Okay, I'm going to turn that off so I can see better. Now then. And this is definitely one of those messes that I end up leaving. That have to be corrected. Okay. So we've got a collar going on here. This is not actually really anything. It's just a seam that's distinct enough. Just a very distinct seam. That shows up on her. So it needs to be really thin. So it's just a thin black line. And okay. Need to clean actually have a vague idea of what's going on. This is actually her second arm, her left arm. Over here. Clean this out. Clean this out. I'm not seeing any other lines that are more cosmetic than, you know, edging lines. Just clean this out. Wrinkles. And I found if I do something like that, which, you know, that was a very large line that I created, then I can pare it down to what feels good to me quite easily. Her elbow is bent, so we need creases in here. A little bit more curvy. There we go. Yeah, it should be a little bit bumpy in here. Less of a smooth line, more bumpy. I suppose I should probably have just a little bit over here. Let's clean this up just a little bit more, so that the line is a little more even. And then clean this up. There we go. Okay, now on to the other arm. See, this needs to be thinned down just a bit so that it matches the rest. Same with this right here. Shaving off pixels. Shaving off pixels. So that's what it takes sometimes, just shaving off pixels. Okay. Go move down to here. Whoops. that's a little thin, but it'll do. Got a little bit of creasing in here at the armpit. This cloth does not move smoothly. There are always creases and lines in it, which makes it a fun challenge. I actually really like, along with trees, I like the flow of cloth. It's difficult to do, but I still enjoy it. Well, it's difficult to do right, but I do very much enjoy it. Okay. Add a little bit of creasing in here. Oops. And I'm probably not drawing the creases out enough in terms of, you know, how far down they're supposed to go. Like, there should probably be sort of a crease over here-ish. Very thin one, but one nonetheless. And then I feel it isn't properly placed and end up moving it around a little bit. There. A little better, I think. This needs to be thinned down. There we go. So you see, there's really no point in having all of these body lines actually be cared about, because the lines I'm going to end up caring about are the clothing lines, because she's got long sleeves and a jacket that covers most of her torso. So it's that that's going to matter. Okay, I'm just going to erase all this and then put some more proper lines in place for creases. Erase all of this. Clean it out. I think I'm leaving marks behind. I'll be able to tell better when I clean out all of the lines like this that are in here. Okay. And down. And like that. And we'll swap brushes out. There we go. Excuse me. Need to clean this up just a little bit. There we go. That's better. It's going to be fun to draw that hand. This one at least is mostly hidden. I'll just need to draw the thumb. Okay. But I don't really care about the body yet. I think I'm going to call this here for now. And I will finish the rest of this in the next video. I will see you next time.